Trev, I know you've been in this position a couple times, obviously going into round one. What makes you and this group so excited and encouraged kind of heading into the same series but a different series at the same time?
Yeah, I think, this day is exciting every year. Just to come in here, you get the Stanley Cup patch and all the equipment. It's just, it feels like new life. It's really exciting. And then, just have a chance at, some redemption, feel good about ourselves. We get a chance to play these guys again and hopefully, take it from them.
There's always this talk about it's a different series, every year is new, but when you play a team 4 times in a row, isn't it more about kind of how you channel what's happened? I mean, as opposed to, looking at the past, using it maybe more as motivation or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that we're coming into the playoffs this year feeling really good about ourselves. I don't know if we could say that the same about that last year. I think that we've come into this playoffs hot, and that's important. And we believe in our group. We're a really tight group. All those important things.
Of course, you had one of those strange kind of de facto swaps with RV going up there and Fogg's coming in here. I know you've talked about Fogle as kind of a model LA Kings player. Can you just talk a little bit about the way he's fit in here and with your line specifically, during this really successful period?
Yeah, I think he just plays a really direct game, really good skater, and he's a physical guy. So, it's a guy that everyone likes having on their team and a guy that me and Phil like playing with.
And with just one more. With RV, he arrived, at kind of a critical time for the team when things were trending upward. Can you speak a little bit to maybe his influence on your game or on maybe some other players on the team during the period he was here, I guess?
Yeah, I think RV's a really good offensive player. He, we talked a lot about like ozone and stuff, and being able to pick his brain for things like that was, I think, beneficial for me. So, grateful for that.
Since the trade deadline, you guys have had consistency, with the lines up front. Do you feel like maybe after 60 games of not having it, every line kind of is in place, every line has its role and its identity going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I think identity is a good word for that. Every line kind of knows what they need to do and what makes them successful. I think that's huge going into the playoffs, is having some stability.
The narrative is you're a better team this year than you have in the last 3. But what do you guys need to do better to win the series?
Special teams, I think, is obviously a big one. Other than that, just be hard on the top guys and use our depth. I don't think that we've necessarily done that the best the last few years, but I think, this year I think the young guys are taking such big steps, and I think that makes us really dangerous.
Kopi said a few weeks ago that the end numbers for special teams really aren't going to matter. It's how you guys feel with special teams going into the playoffs, and how do you guys feel after these last few weeks?
I feel good. I feel like, it's fun watching our top unit on the power play right now. That's really exciting. And then our penalty kill, I think, I don't even know where we are in the league, but it just feels more aggressive. We feel confident. And, when you have Darcy in net, it makes all the world a difference. So, we feel really confident going into it.
Phil, you've been around this team all year, and what makes this group specifically so excited and encouraging going into a series that looks the same on paper but maybe doesn't feel the same to you guys?
More depth, better system. Seems like we all buy in. We're all aboard, on board, I should say. But we feel that we're strong, and we definitely, our young guys are pushing way more than last year as well. So that's a big difference as well. Obviously, our PK and Darcy and Ritter are huge for us.
You talk about that depth. We were just talking with Morsey, and he said it feels like every line has its identity at this point in the year. After taking kind of a while to get there, is that how you feel as well going into playoffs? Each line knows its role and knows what to do?
Yeah, exactly. And each line's going to have a big role. And as it should be, true playoff, every line's got a big role, in whether it's scoring or shutting down players. So, big challenge for us.
Special teams obviously was a huge issue in last year's series. You guys revamped the PK this year. Since Kuzi's come in, power play's been playing great. How do you guys feel on both ends of special teams right now, and what do you anticipate in the series here?
I feel good about a PK. Obviously, we know they have a massive power play, but I don't think we should change the way we're doing. Like we've been killing our way the whole year, so we don't want to adapt to them. Obviously, you need to do adjustment throughout the series, but also Darcy is a big part of it.
You mentioned the young guys. Some guys in the past had gone up and down and then back up for the playoff run. How important do you think it's been to have had essentially the same group around all season, including the young guys?
You mean the difference between
this year and last
year? Yeah, but like I said, more experience and different goalies. I wouldn't say better. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but yeah, good goalies, both of them. Defensively, we're playing well, hard, different system, like I said. So yeah, just hard to play all around.
Bill, I'm taking you back here. Your deep run with Montreal, basically underdogs all the way through, make it all the way. What did you learn about playoffs in that scenario?
That you could believe, whether you have the top teams or like underdog, like you said, like you can do big things. It's just a matter of like getting right at the peaking at the right time, and you get confidence out of it. Goalie's playing well, good PK, special units are huge. Last year I think Edmonton scored 11 goals on the PP, so it's hard to win a series against that. So you definitely have to limit the goals on there, and 5-on-5 games, and also everyone doing their job. Scoring the goals we need, defending well. So yeah, it's just a matter of peaking the right time. Everyone.
The guys who were added to this group are guys like Fogues, Eddie, Darcy, who have all been on runs themselves. How big is that to add, multiple guys who have had that run? When things get dicey in the playoffs, you have more guys to kind of rely on there.
Yeah, obviously you lose a round, you lose a series last year, and you look what you can get better at, and we get certainly bigger pieces there, like Eddie, like you said, like Darcy, like Fogie, like all of them, Kuzi, So yeah, we're confident, and it's going to be a battle, that's for sure, and it's never going to be easy against Edmonton.
You mentioned you have to be better on special teams, but 5-on-5, Phil, the matchup for your line, do you think you're going to face Connor or Leon's line more often?
It's hard to say. I mean, they play every 2 shifts, so it's it's like I'm sure they're going to roll the bench and end up playing 25 minutes a night, so it's hard to say.
There's a couple of guys with 0 playoff experience. When you enter into the playoffs for the first time, what did you remember about what you learned so quickly, or maybe what can they do that helps that they're not even thinking about that kind of helps you guys?
The intensity, obviously, is the biggest difference, I would say, in playoff. The first 10 minutes is huge, like everyone's hitting everyone, so just like the intensity, I would say. Higher pace, execute better. Mistakes, you don't want to do a lot because the good teams will capitalize on it, and just enjoy. Otherwise, like it's playoff time. It's just the best time of the year.
In years past, you guys really stuck to matchups as far as either you or Kopi going against 97 or 29. How much has Q's emergence defensively allowed you to maybe worry a little less about matchups and let things flow more in your own game?
Yeah, like you said, they play a lot of minutes. They're top 2 guys, and we all have to be ready, 4 lines, and Q's has the speed, to defend Connor and Leon, so I'm not worried about the Q's line, and it's definitely a bigger piece than we had last year. Like, he's more ready and more experience, and he's got more confidence, he had a good year, so I think he's ready for a challenge.
Off that tone, like you said, Q's going to be going into the series now as a center. He was on the wing last year. How much does that change the dynamic for you guys? The fact that he can now handle the middle, and you guys can run 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, a lot of depth, and like you said, maybe a little bit of matchup, obviously, but if Q end up playing a big line, it's fine. He can handle it. He did it all year. He got the speed for it, skill. So he thinks the right way too on the ice. So he cares defensively. So it's definitely going to be upside for us.
Fogues obviously is switching sides in this rivalry. Seemed like he really fit in well here, and then once he got onto your line, kind of took it up another level. Can you just talk about his fit with the group this season, I guess?
Yeah, he's hungry on the net. He do those little details. He's steady. You know what you're gonna get from Fogue every game. Really pumped to have him, and he plays hard. He's dedicated too.
Of course, you and RB were on a line together. He's in Edmonton now. You just talk about maybe his contributions to kind of development of this team as it was coming up and becoming more competitive. RB, you and him got
when
here
he was
at the
here.
same time,
Yeah, obviously he helped me big time. We helped each other good. We were playing well together. Good righty, great offensively, care defensively. So obviously a great player. It was great to play with him. It's also great to play against him.
Your experience previously with the Avalanche, and just generally speaking, what makes a team, what gives them that ability to win in the end?
Yeah, I think, there's a lot of factors, and you see different types of teams win. I think, what gives us a chance to win is our depth and our defend-first mindset. I think, we were able to have so much success in the regular season and always in games. There weren't very many games where we didn't give ourselves a chance. And, I think it's quite well known that things tighten up as playoffs get going, and we're very comfortable playing those type of games, and we're excited for it.
The guys who are on this team that weren't on the team last year, guys like yourself, Fogues, Eddie, have all been through the playoffs before. They've gone on runs. How important is it to have several of those guys in the mix when things do get on the ropes in the playoffs?
Yeah, we have a lot of guys with a lot of experience in here. I think it's good. I remember being a young guy in my first playoff games and kind of just watching the older guys, how they handle themselves. And I think the more of those guys you have around, I think it just kind of calm a room through the highs and the lows.
With things tightening up in the playoffs, this group's been so strong defensively all season. What's it been like to play behind this group this year?
Yeah, it's been super fun. I've really enjoyed this group. We have a lot of fun in the locker room and off the ice, and then we play so hard for each other on the ice. So it's special to be a part of a group like that, and we've been looking forward to the playoffs for a long time now, and we're excited to get going.
In terms of the penalty kill specifically, why have you meshed so well with the structure in front of you?
Yeah, I think just the way we kill it makes my reads easier. We really mark our guys, and so then it's easy to know who's got who, and then just read off that. And I think the killers in front of me have been doing such a good job that it makes my job as easy as it can be in 5-on-4 situations.
Last time you raised the Stanley Cup is the last time you played a playoff game. Any nerves or butterflies on Monday night, you think?
Excitement, really. That year was, the funnest year I've ever had and most exciting, and I've been itching to get back there. So it'll be fun to be back out in that atmosphere. The crowd's so intense, the players are so intense, the games mean so much, and most fun type of hockey to play.
I'm sure it's fun to go into an away building sometimes too, but how much more exciting is it that game one is going to be in LA, first time here in a long time?
Yeah, especially this year. We've loved playing at home so much, and we feel so comfortable on home ice. So it's nice to have earned that right to play game one at home, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
There's chatter that you could be a Vezina finalist. Is there any sense of validation after what happened last year in Washington about going from that level to where you are right now, where you're in a conversation with these guys?
No, not really. It was just a fun year to be out there playing well and being on a team that's winning a lot of games. It was nice to have a fun year like that after a tougher one last year, and it was a great regular season. Now we're looking forward to the playoffs.
So for you guys that don't have any playoff experience at all, looking back at your first playoff game, is there some sort of added benefit to not knowing what to expect, where it's almost like a clean slate?
Yeah, I think, I remember my first game was coming off the bench, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to think or get too nervous for it, so it's kind of nice to just kind of get thrown to the fire like that and go play. There's going to be a lot of excitement and energy, and it's just channeling that the best you can, as for everybody really, but especially guys in their first games.
In a way, is there some part for you guys glad that it's the Oilers, given the history, and that if you're going to advance, why not be the team that you've had to deal with?
That's just kind of how it went. That we fell in playing them again, but. Obviously, if you want to make it all the way, you got to beat them at some point. So it's good that's the first round. We got to get this out of the way.
The way that, particularly you guys line, the way that you played, especially the second half, the way Laugh has come along, the way Kevin exploded, scoring-wise, whatsoever. How much can you see you guys and the chemistry that you've developed be a difference maker?
Yeah. It's obviously going to be a tough series, and there's going to be a lot of matchups, throughout the whole series, a lot of changes as well. But the second half of the year, me, Kev, and Laugh, kind kind of started off a little bit slower together, but picked up it down the stretch and got a lot more comfortable with each other's games. And those are two great players I got to play with, so happy to play with them. And the chemistry's really there right now.
You're obviously now a full-fledged center this time around. How does that change the dynamic as opposed to when you were last spring you were playing obviously up with on the wing with Phillip?
It's definitely different responsibilities. Face-offs are huge, so in playoffs those are even amplified. So that's a big responsibility coming along with that. But there's a lot more different things. The game's different as well. There's center iceman, but coming back into our structure, it's just F1 kind of plays down low. So at times last year I was still playing down low, but this year definitely more responsibility.
Do you feel like you're better equipped this time around with all that experience that you've gained, that you're still even gaining?
Yeah. For the center ice position, I played that my whole life, and it was hard for me to go to wing. But for playoff experience, I think just playing how many games I played before kind of just build up to this year, and just come in and feel more mature and more ready for this series, and most of all just excited to get it going.
You won the special teams battle pretty decisively last year. Why are you guys better equipped to fare in that part of the game this season?
Yeah, I think right now our power play is kind of just hot right now, and I'm very confident in that. And every time we get an opportunity, we're happy to get out there and excited to get the opportunity to go out on the power play. So that's for that side, but the penalty kill as well. Like we're a lot more aggressive. We're not going to just allow them time and space with the puck. So trying to close down their ability to make plays a little bit better, and we're just confident on both sides of power play and penalty kill right now.
How much of that power play confidence is attributed to Kuzmenko?
Yeah, he's been huge since he came in, not just the power play, but he's obviously expanded our power play, just being a right-handed shot down low, and he's always talking about different plays that he can make, and he makes a lot of crafty plays that you wouldn't think that many players make, and he does that.
Fogues, obviously a guy you had a lot of personal familiarity with, but he's come in here, not only expanded his role, but been more successful within it. Can you just talk about his integration into the group over the course of the year, I guess?
Yeah, I knew Fogey for a while now, but obviously coming to LA, you kind of knew the player that you're getting, but he stepped up from that. Like he's exceeded expectations. I feel that most people had on him. Personally, I knew he had that ability. Just in summer hockey, he's always making some nice plays, making some moves. But what you're getting from him every night. He's a hard-nosed player, just north-south, and right now he's putting the puck in the back of the net the whole year. So we're very happy to have him.
Guys like Fogues, Edmondson, Darcy have all climbed the mountain or been to the Cup final before. How nice is it to add three guys like that to a group when you get into the playoffs and things kind of get on the ropes?
Yeah, there's a lot of experience in this room, and a lot of guys who've been there and done it before. So just being able, as a younger guy, and you're more young guys just coming into their first playoff series, just being able to lean on those guys and look up to them, how they take the pressure, how you take the high lows in the game. So just being able to talk to them and see how you read off of them almost.
On paper, it seems like a pretty abrupt flip, like after the trade deadline. You guys were kind of struggling to score goals right before it, then bang, offense takes off, power play takes off, record takes off. Do you feel like there was any sudden flip there, or do you think that was more building into that improvement, I guess?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. I think it was building to that, obviously. Beforehand we're getting a little unlucky with some things as well. Then, right now, I feel like everybody's just kind of feeling good about themselves and the ability to score. It kind of just comes and goes. It's a long season. You have those adversities where sometimes you can't miss and then sometimes you can't score. So that's just how it goes.
If you get shifts against either Connor or Leon, how much are you looking forward just to the pure challenge?
Yeah, I think everybody looks for that opportunity. Those guys, two of the best players in the league. So if you get that challenge against you, you kind of dig in a little bit more, and that's what you're going to have to do against those guys.
That said, too, how much of a difference is it that you've grown your game to that level defensively where you can get matchups, and you've got Phil and you've got Anjay, that you've got three guys you can decide between?
Yeah, that just speaks it's kind of the older guys like Kopi and Phil obviously leading the way for, myself and, even Sammy as well, just being able to see their game, how much they care defensively, but, honestly, they're still producing offensively. So just kind of watching those guys and just be able to grow into that role, throughout the year kind of allowed us to have that depth going in.
What do you think that kind of flexibility does for your team game, though? Because, 22 was a really strict matchup, either Phil or Kopi against Draisaitl or McDavid. Now, maybe can you guys let that dictate less of your game and maybe dictate more things yourselves, not having to stick as quite as faithfully to those matchups?
Yeah, I think there's still obviously going to be matchups, but throughout the series, you're not going to, play against the same guys every line. There's icings, there's, whatsoever that happens in the game, but, we're confident that we can go out to cover those guys as well. So whoever is out there, we're, happy to have out there, and we don't see it as a disadvantage.
Just got to talking to Q a little bit. Obviously, we talked over the year about his growth, his further growth this year. But you're going into the series where he's going to be in the middle, as opposed to say last year when he was mostly on the wing. How does where he's at now change the calculus, particularly being in the middle against these guys?
For the team or for him personally?
Yeah. Just how does he help change the calculus in terms of him playing in the middle against these Oilers?
Yeah.
And obviously, who whatsoever. How does it change the calculus for you?
Well,
matching up and all that.
Yeah. Well, at different times this season, he's played as a matchup center against the other team's best. I think all three of those guys have at different times, so that, makes us comfortable in this series that, who's ever on the ice is the guy that has to do the job. And I think he's proven that in the middle, he's adapted to that well. He's succeeded at that already this year. He's had a taste of it. So, what comes along in the playoffs, we don't want to, make something that's not there. Just go out and play, and you've done it all year. So just go do it again. It's not like he hasn't faced top competition from the other team. He's already done it and succeeded.
Does that, with that in mind, does that lessen maybe your need, even desire, but yet to hard match one guy against another whatsoever because of that, and that you could have any one of three guys up against Leon or Connor if they're on.
Yep, that's right. It makes it easier on me for sure. Makes it easier. Yep.
Coach, it's almost inevitable through the course of the series that you're going to be momentum swings. How do you deal with those momentum swings in a game and then maybe from game to game?
Yeah, well, I think if you want the players to keep their heads in those moments, you probably should try and be able to keep your head in those moments as well. You know what I mean? It's so. I don't know if you ever seen the scene in Old School when Will Ferrell was in the locker room. You guys ever see that one when he had the chair and he was banging on the? Said we all just got to relax and stay calm, and he's smashing the chair on the lockers there. It's a great sports scene. Anyways, so that's just it. I just think we've got a lot of experience on our team, guys that have gone through the whole gauntlet, ran that gauntlet, come out on the other side. So they know better than anybody, and they'll lead that. But it's easy to say, it's hard to do at certain times. Refereeing, crowd, goals for, goals. There's a lot of stuff. That's what makes it so fun.
You mentioned the experience for most of this group that they've had in the playoffs, either here or elsewhere. For the young guys like Turk and Sammy and Clarkie and others, how important do you think it could be for them to have gone on some deep playoff runs in the American League the last few years?
That helps. There's no question. But there's nothing that prepares you for this, the first time you go through it. But that will help. That'll be as good of a preparation as you can have, but it's a completely different animal. And that's why everybody battles so hard for 7 months just to give yourself a crack at it and a taste at it. And everybody who's left in, you can see it. I'm sure everyone's pace and practice was great. Everybody dialed in all across the league. These guys are excited because they've gone through a lot just to be able to put them on up in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Are you glad that it's the Oilers and not another team? I mean, it's obvious in terms of breaking through. Are you glad that it's them?
I would say this. I'm glad we're in. I'm glad we're in, and I'm glad we get a chance to break through anybody. We haven't broke through for a while. It's time for us. I don't think it carries any special weight that it's the Oilers, or if it was Vegas or somebody else. This is about us, and we want to push through.
The narrative is the way you played down the stretch. This is a better team. This might be your best shot before. And one of the reasons that is now you have home ice. My question is, how important is home ice? Because if you go back to the last 3 series, after every game 2, you had home ice. You had home ice last year. And isn't the big advantage having a game 7? Or what, to you, what's the edge of having home ice? The way that lays out.
Well, I think generally the home road splits, in the regular season at least, I haven't looked at it in the playoffs, outside of our series specifically, you mentioned, the home road splits are typically the home ice is a higher winning percentage. Why is that? That would be the next question, right? Why is that, and does it change in the playoffs? If so, why? Those are deep questions. I don't have answers for. But we're happy we have home ice. There's no question. We're happy that we're starting here Monday night in front of our fans in a building that we've played so well in all year. Why wouldn't we be happy and excited and want that advantage? And I believe it is for us.
Apologize for another deep question. We hear from players and everyone, believe, you have to believe. As a coaching staff, what are some of the components that go into making 25 guys come together and believe?
Well, I think that's happened from training camp through the course of the season. And I don't know at what point in the season, you like for that to grow all year. And it's hard to say, okay, we got in, now let's believe. This is what we have to do to believe. I think that's been a process that's over the last 7 months that's gotten to the point where, we had a great run since the trade deadline, Kuzmenko picked up Kuzmenko. I would say if you don't believe, you wouldn't have had that type of a run from March into April. So now, we just keep on running.
You mentioned Kuzi, and obviously he's brought a lot to this group, especially offensively, but when you look back at his acquisition at the deadline, how important has it been to have kept the original group together while acquiring him at the same time?
Yeah, very important, because that group had played very well up until the deadline as well. And we had talked about it many times. Turk did a great job this year. A rookie in the NHL, he ends up going from the 4th line, maybe even a healthy scratch type of player coming into the preseason, into start the regular season, make the lineup, 4th line center. He ascends to the top wing position with Kopi and Juice. Nobody had expected that, and we certainly didn't expect him to run through that all season. It's just too much for a young guy. So there was probably a pretty specific need that we required at the deadline. Blakey filled it, and then so everybody else was just ready to settle. We didn't have to move anybody or push anybody else out. We felt comfortable with where we were outside of that one spot.
Anything you learned from your first head coaching playoff experience last year that you're taking into this year?
No, there's nothing specific. We talk about our coaching staff going into last year's playoffs. We talk again. The approach is pretty similar. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we've learned. I've been in the league for a long time. Been in a lot of playoffs. It's amped up. It's more intense. There's more media. There's more of this. There's more on the line. But in the end, it's just a game of hockey, and you don't have to recreate it.
Coach, you have an update on 10. Will he be available in the first round?
I think the update is he's still week to week, right? So that puts him, if he doesn't start, that puts him out at least a week from Monday, or at least a week from today. Yeah.
And you're potentially looking at a 4th line of all players who have never played Stanley Cup hockey, depending on Milano, Lewis, or whatever.
Yeah.
What's the message to that group?
Yeah, well, they've got a job to do. It's a forechecking line. I don't know how much they'll play, 7 minutes, 3 minutes, 12 minutes, who knows. Their job, when they are on the ice, is to get the puck in deep and forecheck, keep an F3, and just play even. And just do what they are. If they chip in for one, it's great. But, we're not looking for them to pull the puck of the back of their net. So there's nothing that they have to do that's outside of what they've done for a while, which is forecheck and finishing checks, especially the 2 big guys.
We talked to Danault and more. We asked him what this team needs to do better this year than last year. Obvious question, right away, no hesitation. Special teams.
Mm-hmm.
What's the second thing this team has to do behind special teams to get it done?
Well, I don't know. I think 5-on-5 last year was even, or we outscored them or outchanced, and that was pretty much a saw-off. and the special teams decided the series. So there's a lot of things within that we'd like to do better, that I think we do better this year, just in general already. So, I mean, the elephant in the room was the special teams last year, and that's a pretty good answer by them. I don't think we have to go much further than that.
The fact that your special teams have peaked over this last 20 games or so, is that helpful going into the playoffs, that, hey, we're playing well, let's stick to what we do and we'll be fine against Edmonton?
I think so. I think the power play in particular. I mean, the penalty kill has been pretty, a little rough start early, first 4 or 5 games. Been pretty consistent all year. I think you guys have watched. It's a different style. It's been pretty effective. Power play was something we talked about a lot, all of us. But since we've got Kuzi and got him down there making some plays on the goal line, I think our power play's been pretty effective. So I think they feel good going into it. I think the power play guys, we were out there this morning. We scored some goals that I haven't seen in a long time, and so they're feeling good. So you just got to make sure you maintain that throughout the series, despite how the ups and downs go, whether it's special teams or 5-on-5. We talked about that earlier. We feel good, and they should.
Other than Danault, everybody's ready to go full, no limitations or anything like that.
Yeah.
How much added benefit for some of the guys that don't have any playoff experience is there? Just mentally, coming in with a clean slate, not knowing what to expect, how can that sometimes benefit a player?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes they say ignorance is bliss, right? I guess that's one way to look at it. But again, it gets amped up pretty quickly. So you come in there and all of a sudden the building's electric and the speed just goes up that much. I think it's important to get through 3 or 4 shifts, and then I think you can start to settle in. But there's nothing that prepares you for those first 3 or 4.
Is it useful to have a couple days to be able to have some full practices instead of going straight into it?
I think so. I mean, we were ready just to have one good practice and one kind of video session day. We were able to give the guys the full day off because of the extra day. So they're able to freshen up, not have to hear from us. And good practice today with a little bit of an emphasis on Edmonton. And tomorrow we just go full speed with what we would do typical practice, and then good. So we played Edmonton a lot. We didn't have to over prepare for them.
Because of the physicality of the series with Moverari, do you expect him to be an important part of the series?
I expect him to be ready. Yeah, I expect him to be ready. He's actually had a really good season, and could be playing every night. There's no question. He showed us that. He ran for 30, 35 games, played every night, played very well. Circumstances, he comes out, we go on a pretty good run, and he's had a hard time getting back in, but we have full faith in him if we need him.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.